Hi makers, I'm Alexandra from Minerva. Today we are going to be working on a sew along for Simplicity pattern S8925, which is a wrap dress. This is a great pattern and perfect for confident beginners. Not only do you get a wrap dress, a top, but you also get a skirt and knit pants, which makes this pattern a wardrobe builder. It comes in one size range from double extra small to double extra large. This pattern is meant for jersey and double knit fabrics, and that is what I have for you today. But before I show you today's fabric, I want to remind you to sign up for a Minerva Craft Club account. You get a discount on all your orders for 12 months. And of course, makers, don't forget to open an account on our website where you can share your makes, talk to other makers, get inspiration on fabric and patterns for your upcoming projects. You can also watch sew-along videos. So let me tell you about this fabric we are using. Today's fabric is a premium cotton jersey knit fabric in cerise pink. It's a knit, so it has a 40% stretch and a medium weight. This fabric is available on our website in a wide range of colors. And if you want to do something a little different for this pattern, you can also use a print knit fabric or even a stretch velvet. As always, I'm going to be linking the pattern, fabric, and any notions that I use below. All right, makers, let's get started. Hi makers, so today we are going to be working on Simplicity 8925. As I mentioned, this pattern comes in one size range from double extra small to double extra large, which is absolutely wonderful. And you get all of these pieces in this pattern, but today we're going to be doing view A, which is the dress. Let me tell you about the pieces that you're going to need. You're going to need pattern piece number 1, and this is the front. You're gonna cut 2. You're also going to need pattern piece number 2, and this is the back, and you're gonna cut 2. You're also going to need pattern piece number 3, and these are the pockets, and you're gonna cut 4. You are going to need the front facing, and you are going to cut 2 of fabric and 2 of interfacing. You're going to need pattern piece number 5. This is the back facing, and you are going to cut 1 on the fold and 1 of interfacing on the fold. You're going to need pattern piece number 6. This is the right tie end, and you're going to cut 1. You're also going to need pattern piece number 7, and this is the left tie end, and you're going to cut 1. You are also going to need for this pattern 3/4 of a yard or 0.7 meters of fusible interfacing, and we have this super knit stretch interfacing. It's perfect for knits, so it's going to be linked along with the thread. If you ever need us to match your thread, just go ahead and check on the box for thread matching, and we will send you a spool of thread. All right, makers, go ahead and mark your notches, cut your fabric, and don't forget the interface, the front facings, and the back facing. Go ahead and do that now. Makers, so we are going to grab piece number 1, and we are going to grab our pockets, which is piece number 3, and we are going to pin the pockets to the right side. Remember, to the right side, and we are going to stitch from that dot right there to this dot right there, and we are going to stitch 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter. Don't forget the back stitch at the start and at the end, and then you're going to do that for both pieces number 1, and then you are going to grab piece number 2, and you are going to grab again your pockets, and you are going to stitch from that dot to this dot, again 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter. Don't forget the back stitch at the start and at the end. Remember, we are working with knits. So with knits, we like to do a narrow zigzag stitch on your machine. Go ahead and do that now, makers. So I went ahead and stitched in my pocket, and now I pressed it off to the outside towards the pocket. And now the pattern is asking for us to go ahead and understitch your pockets. You want to do this so your pocket stays towards the pocket and not towards your dress. So go ahead and understitch all your pockets for both pieces 1 and 2 for front and back. Go ahead and understitch as close to the seam. Go ahead and do that now. Makers, now that we understitched our pockets, we are going to grab both pieces number 2, which is the back, and we are going to line those notches, and we are going to pin because we are going to attach these back pieces together. And again, I want to make sure that you remember you are working with knits, so you don't have to finish them because knits do not unravel on you, which is absolutely perfect if you don't have a serger. But if you do have a serger, you can finish your seams and press them open. Or if you want to finish your seams, you can also finish your seams with a zigzag stitch. So go ahead and pin. And again, this is our pieces number 2. This is the back. So I want you to stitch 5/8 of an inch. Don't forget the back stitch at the start and all the way to the end. So go ahead and stitch the back. These are piece number 2. Go ahead and do that now. Makers, now that we stitched the 2 back pieces together, the pattern has a couple of instructions, so I'm going to break it down for you. So first, we are going to go ahead and stitch the shoulder seams. So find your notch, and I want you to pin. And I want you to stitch 5/8 of an inch or 1.5 centimeters. Don't forget the back stitch at the start and at the end. Go ahead and do that for both shoulders. Makers, and one little tip, when you are sewing with knits, especially at the shoulders, I usually like to put either stay tape or just something to reinforce the shoulders, because just when you wear your garment over time, the shoulders could stretch. So I want to make sure that I give them a little bit of help, and I'm doing this all the way down the sleeve. You can just do it in the shoulder area, but I'm going to do it all the way down. I am going to be linking this in the box below, but go ahead and use stay tape, or you can also use ribbon, but go ahead and do that now. Makers, now we are going to go ahead and stitch the sides. So I want you to stitch, or I want you to start by pinning. Pin all the way around, and you have a gap, and this gap is for your ties. So these are 2 dots. I want you to put 2 pins. because I want you to stitch from the edge all the way to the dot, and I want you to back stitch again, lift your needle, and then start on this dot again, back stitch, don't forget, because that you're starting again, and I want you to stop at that dot, pivot, stitch your pocket all the way around, and then again stop at this other dot and go ahead and back stitch. You want to reinforce this dot right there because it's for your pocket, and keep going all the way down. This is at 5/8 of an inch or 1.5 centimeter, and it's going to look like this. Remember that opening on the side, it's only going to be on the right side. The left side you are going to stitch all the way around. Once you do that, I want you to clip on those curves, because once you press this and finish your seams, you want to make sure that this stays flat. So go ahead and stitch both sides of your dress, and I want to make sure to remind you that again on the right side of your dress you have an opening for your waist ties, only on the right side. So go ahead and do that now. Makers, now I want you to clip right above your pockets and below, and we want to do this because we want to make sure that the pockets can go towards the front. So go ahead and do that, and then also go ahead and trim your seams and finish your seams. But I want to make sure that you remember that here on this opening we have to stitch around it to create, just to reinforce that area. So go ahead and trim your pockets and finish your seams, and I'm going to show you how we're going to finish this opening. Go ahead and do that now. Makers, we have this opening on the right side, so I want to make sure that I finish this beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a pin, and I'm going to fold my fabric onto itself, and again fold the fabric into itself and pin. So now, and if it's easier to do this on your, go ahead and press this open, which is what I'm going to do. And I want you to go ahead and on your, go ahead and stitch 1/4 of an inch away from the opening all the way around, creating a rectangle around this opening. You definitely want to reinforce the sides and the top, because again, your ties will be going through this opening, so you want to make sure that you reinforce this. So go ahead and stitch 1/4 of an inch away from the opening all the way around, and you can do this with a straight stitch. Go ahead and do that now. Makers, so this is my right opening, and that's from the inside, and that's from the outside. I reinforce my corner just ever so slightly. So now I'm going to put this off to the side, and I'm going to grab my ties, that is base 6 and 7, and I want you to pin with right sides together. So go ahead and pin all the way down, and I want you to stitch 5/8 inch or 1.5 centimeters. Start, pivot, keep going all the way down, and I want you to stop at that dot. And don't forget the back stitch at the start and at the end. So go ahead and do that for both piece number 6 and 7, and that is your right and left tie. Go ahead and do that now. Makers, so I went ahead and stitched my left side and my right side, that is piece 6 and 7. So now I'm going to go ahead and trim that seam allowance. You can do this with your rotary cutter if it's easier, so go ahead and keep trimming that seam allowance. So once you do that all the way down, I want you to turn it give it a good press, and I want you to baste the end. Go ahead and do that now for both the right and left tie. That is piece 6 and 7. Makers, so we got our ties done, and now you are going to grab your bodice, and you have these dots at the front, so you are going to grab piece number 7. And if you're thinking which one is which, piece number 7 is the shorter tie and piece number 6 is the longer tie. So you are going to put piece 7 and then piece 6. And piece 6 will go with our opening on the side. So again, grab that open piece and pin. And I want you to baste these pieces in. So go ahead and baste both piece 6 and 7. This is the right and the left ties. So go ahead and do that now. So I went ahead and basted my ties, and I'm gonna go ahead and put my bodice off to the side. And now I'm going to grab piece 5 and 4, and these are my front and back facings, and I'm gonna go ahead and match my notches, and then I'm gonna stitch 5/8 inch seam allowance. Don't forget the back stitch at the start and at the end, and then I want you to press those seams open. So go ahead and do that now. I press my seams open, and now I want you to finish the raw edge of your facings. Again, you can do a serge if you have a serger. If you don't, it's okay. These are knits. It's not going to unravel, but you want to finish this edge in some way. You can also do a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. So go ahead and do that now. So I finish the edge of my facing. So now I'm going to go ahead and start in the back because we want to pin the facings. And I have those 2 notches in the back of my bodice or my dress. So I'm going to go ahead, and first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pin. And then I'm going to go ahead and keep pinning all the way around. And I want to make sure that I match my seams at the shoulder, always. I keep pinning. You have a large dot. And it corresponds with that there. I want to make sure that you keep pinning, and again, match those seams. So I have my facings pinned in. So now I want you to stitch 5/8 inch or 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. And I want you to start at the center and the back and go ahead all the way, go down the front. And I want you to keep going. I want you to pivot, and then I want you to finish at this end. And again, I want you to do that for the right side. And then again, start in the center back and go all the way around. I want you to pivot and end. Don't forget the back stitch at the start and at the end. Go ahead and stitch your facings in. Makers, so we went ahead and stitched in our facings, and now I want you to go ahead and clip your corners anywhere where we have any curves, and then I also want you to go ahead and trim your corners like I did here. So you can just grab a pair of scissors, or you can do a rotating cutter and then just trim away. And then I want you to go ahead and also trim your seams. Keep going all the way around. And again, I want you to go ahead and clip those curves, because you want to make sure that when you press this, that it stays flat. That's why you do that. So once you trim all of the facing, I want you to turn it, and I want you to give your facing a really good press. So go ahead and do that now. All right, makers, so I went ahead and pressed my facings in. So now the pattern is asking us to do the hem. So I want you to go ahead and try on your dress and see where you want your hem to be. So in my case, it's 1.5 inches. So I'm going to stitch 1.5 inches. And don't forget the back stitch at the start and at the end. And I want you to do that on both sides. So again, I'm going to measure, and I'm going to measure, right? 1.5 inches, pin, and I'm going to stitch just like I did on this side, right? So once I do that, I'll do my entire hem. Don't forget to do the hem on your sleeves, and in your pattern, 2.25 inches are allowed for the hem on your sleeves. So make sure again that you try on your dress and you go ahead and hem those sleeves. Once you have your hem done, the pattern is asking you to stitch 1/4 inch away on the outside. So go ahead and do your hem and go ahead and stitch 1/4 inch starting from at the end of your hem all the way around, and make sure that you press these outer edges. And if you need to finish these, if you don't have a serger, remember you can always do a zigzag stitch and then start all the way 1/4 inch all the way around on the edge, and you're going to do this from the outside 1/4 inch. Make sure that you do not stitch your ties. So again, 1/4 inch all the way around, and keep going all the way on the back of your neckline, and then just keep going all the way around. Once you're done, you are finished. Makers, this is what your stitching 1/4 inch away from that edge should look like. And again, I have to give this a good press, but it keeps going all the way down to your hem. All right, makers, I hope you enjoyed this sew along. All right, makers, I hope you enjoyed that sew along. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. As always, I'm going to be linking the pattern, fabric, and any notions used. Don't forget to sign up for a Minerva Craft Club account. You get a discount on all your orders for 12 months. And don't forget to sign up for an account on our website where you can share your makes and get inspiration. All right, guys, I will see you next time.